Now that we have an idea about how to identify hazards, we need to evaluate the risk associated with each hazard. Evaluating risk will be an important part of our more formal functional safety analysis. Every hazard has a certain risk associated with it. And since we are thinking like functional safety engineers, we are going to define risk numerically. Risk equals severity of harm times probability of occurrence. Severity of harm measures how badly a person could be injured when an accident occurs. Probability of occurrence has a specific definition for passenger car functional safety. It is the frequency with which typical drivers find themselves driving in a certain situation. For example, driving on a city street has a high probability of occurrence because people do it every day. Driving on a snowy mountainside has a low probability because people hardly find themselves driving in those conditions. Probability of occurrence only takes into account how often you find yourself driving in a certain situation. It does not take into account how likely a malfunction will occur, like the probability of your brakes failing. Failing brakes would lead to high severity but would not affect probability of occurrence. Let's go through an example of calculating risk. We'll say that severity has a scale of 1 to 4, with 1 representing no injury and 4 representing fatal injury. Probability of occurrence will also be on a scale from 1 to 4, 1 being an unlikely scenario like needing a jump start, while 4 will be a likely scenario like driving on a highway. Here's our scenario. We are driving on a snowy mountainside pass and the power steering malfunctions. I would say severity is a 4 because we could easily lose control of the vehicle, driving off the mountainside and suffer a fatal injury. Probability of occurrence could be a 2 because you would not find yourself driving on a snowy mountainside very often. Risk then is 4 times 2 equals 8. In functional safety analysis, we quantify risk to determine how much we need to lower the risk. Vehicle systems with high risks will require more analysis and testing to bring the risk down to acceptable levels.